Hello, beloved, for you are indeed beloved and precious and loved. Today I was thinking about the idea of rest. I was fortunate yesterday, after the busy week leading up to Easter this past Sunday, to have taken Monday as a day to rest. I usually have Friday as my day to rest. Didn't quite work out that way last week. And I thought what a gift rest was. And so I thought I would talk just a moment about how important rest is for all of us. We indeed live in a world that tells us to be productive, particularly in the West. Productivity is the measure of our life. And so in order to be more productive, oftentimes those who employ us believe that we should work more hours, which actually scientifically makes us less productive over time. But that's for another conversation, perhaps. So we begin to measure our lives by what we produce. And actually, productivity becomes the God that we worship. We worship a God other than the God we say we do, and we worship productivity, what we can produce in a given day. If you're looking for a biblical example of why this conversation even matters, take a look at Exodus. All that the Egyptian slavers were looking for in their Hebrew slaves was productivity. Hours and hours every day of producing bricks and building. That was all they were measured by, productivity. And God has a different way of seeing us and measuring us. And it's not about what we produce. It is all about who we are. It is all about who you are. You are precious, infinitely so. And you are unconditionally loved and a gift for whom you already are. Not what you'll become, but who you are. Who you are. Not what you do. Who you are. And you need to hear that. Rest is a vital piece of being alive. The biblical story, the very first biblical story, has the seventh day with God setting aside time to rest, the God of the universe. And ultimately, the Ten Commandments included a command to rest, not just recognizing it as a gift, but as a command to set aside a day, a Sabbath day. Now, later on, religious people put a lot of rules on that day of rest, but part of that was an attempt to get people to stop working on that seventh day. Now, they may have put way too many rules on it, and Jesus had his little challenges with some of the religious leaders about what was permissible to do on a day of rest, on a Sabbath. And if you want to explore that further, you certainly can in the Gospels. But the truth was that even the religious leaders were attempting to help people on their day of rest, on their day of Sabbath, to not allow for a lot of other things to get filled in there. Watch a movie if you want to. Take a walk if you want to on a day off. But actually intentionally set aside some time for you to rest when you're not going to be productive in any form. Now, it may be a luxury, but it's a luxury that God sees as important in your life and in my life. It's necessary. It is necessary for us to heal from the other 6 days and to be whole again, be made whole again. And that's the whole thrust of the gospel, is learning to love and be made whole in this journey of living our lives. So if you find yourself caught up in the productivity game, and it is a game, if you find yourself caught up doing things so that you will be seen by others and even yourself as productive, and that you allow anything like productivity to even be a measure for you. Yes, your employer will want you to be productive, but it's unrealistic in our world today. And I would call it out as actually worshiping other gods. It is that call to work as if 7 days a week you ought to be available, that 12, 14, 18 hours a day you ought to be available without any room for rest. It's not the path of Jesus. Even Jesus took time to rest. He did some healing on the Sabbath, certainly, but what he did on the Sabbath was also find that space for himself. He modeled for us what our lives are meant to be. God modeled it in Genesis chapter 1 into the beginning of chapter 2, when God rested on the seventh day. And God commanded for us that same kind of rest. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. So the gift of rest, it is a gift, by the way. The gift of rest is also necessary for life. So if you find yourself, again, defining yourself as a human doing, as very productive, also look at your life and plan some spaces. For me, my Sabbath can't even be on the Sabbath. Saturday is the traditional biblical Sabbath. A lot of Christians think of Sunday as the Sabbath, although it's not particularly Sabbathy anymore. For me, Friday is my Sabbath normally. It wasn't last week, but it often is, usually is, as I set it aside as a day to rest. Don't let it become something that you're locked into, although do your best to protect it. So if you have to do something on Friday, if something comes up of import, or whatever day you've defined as your Sabbath, do that thing. But look for other days when you might catch a glimpse of the restfulness God wants for you. God wants for each of us to find that space. Just to breathe, just to smell the flowers, just to take a walk, to take a nap if we need to, watch a movie, spend some time with family, play a game, do something restful, something fun, something encouraging. Rest is not valued enough in our society, and it ought to be. So find rest. Find rest. The gift that it gives is a fuller sense of your life, an appreciation for every moment of your life. That can be the gift of rest. So I hope for you a space of restfulness in the days ahead, and a regular set aside day for you, whatever day that turns out to be, as your Sabbath, as your day of rest. If you can't make it a whole day, find a space and begin to build on that space until it can be a whole day. But remember, you are a gift, and Sabbath is a gift to you. Rest is a gift to you, meant to be used. So remember, you're infinitely precious, unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. And until the next time, I wish you restfulness. And until the next time, I wish you restfulness.